Hello and welcome to 2025, my first series of 2025. We're starting strong, we're starting good, we're ready to rock and roll. As always, take from this what you want, what works for you, and the rest park to the side and just concentrate on those parts that you're like, yes, this is going to be great. I'm going to take this, I'm going to play with it, and I'm going to see what I can make of it. So as always, if you're not following along, if you're not subscribing, please do. It's absolutely free and you will then get the next part instead of just starting something and never finishing it. I love doing these series because there is that sense of completion and going from A to Z. And I think that so often in life, we have so many unfinished projects going on. And so it feels quite satisfying when we have that moment of completion. So this week is all about getting started. And often this is the trickiest thing to actually do. And what we can do is we can very much stay in writing lists or just thinking about something, maybe chatting about it with a friend, but actually taking that first move, actually signing up, actually doing day one, it can feel like it's a big gap. It's a big gap away. And so by breaking it down in this series, I really want to help you to create momentum. And my aim is by the end of the week is that you'll be in the flow, you'll be on to a winner. So I want to start with a slightly longer one today. And I just want to talk about a few things before we get started. So I'm going to be following a similar pattern to how I work, planning first, then looking at your pricing and packaging, which is Tuesday's video. On Wednesday, all about your positioning and your online presence. On Thursday, it's all about speaking and presenting yourself. And on Friday, it's all going to be about the personal, about you, your mindset, what's going on underneath the surface that you may or may not have befriended. Let's see. We'll see when we get there. But I think it's important to say January is mixed for everybody. Some people love it, some people hate it. Some people find it motivating. Some people are mourning Christmas and want to stick their head under a duvet until spring. You do you, essentially. There have been years where I have felt great and focused and aligned and full of clarity. I am having one of those times at that moment. Equally, there have been times where I have woken up on January the 1st and thought, what am I doing with my life? I've got no direction, no purpose, no sense of what's next. And I've just completely felt stifled and overwhelmed by the whole process. Now, you don't have to decide which camp you are in. However, I do want to start with this. You set the pace, the tone, and the expectations. However, I want you to set these from your year from now version. Now, the current reality might be, well, I'm a bit tired. I had too much to eat and drink over Christmas. I'm feeling a bit sluggish. I'm feeling a bit lethargic, and I don't really fancy it. I'm not in the mood. However, if I connect with that future version self of me in a year, and I've got some really big goals that I want to bring to life in the next couple of years, my future self is like, yeah, I don't really care how you feel today. Let's do something. Let's do the first thing. Let's give it a go. And so it's really important to keep both of those things in mind, because I know myself that there are days where I don't feel 100%, or I'm not in the mood, or I just want to sit on the sofa and do nothing. But I've always have that connection to my future self and those big goals. And that future self version of me requires current me to show up and crack on and make some moves. Am I going to do it 100%? Am I going to do it full blast, the best version of myself? Maybe not. But it's better to do something rather than nothing. Number 2, it's your life and it's your reality. And you may be ready and you may not be ready. And if you're not ready right now, if January right now doesn't feel good to you, don't give yourself a hard time. You might need to park it for a while. But if you are getting ideas along the way, feel free to write them down. Buy that notebook anyway and open it. And in your best or not so best writing, begin to scribble a few ideas. Have a note section on your phone. So even if you're not actively doing things, if an idea pops into your head, you are gathering it all of the time. Number 3. This series is going to encourage you to undo the threads and to ask bigger questions. Because what can happen often is we become really vague and we allow ourselves just to be a bit woolly, a bit fuzzy about the thing, because we know that if we go into the detail of the thing, then we're going to have to ask some bigger questions. So instead of saying things such as, I just want a bit more work-life balance this year, or I'd really like to make some more money this year, I'd love some more time off, I want you to go into it almost like in Mary Poppins, where they jump into the painting. They have a look round, like, what's going on? Okay, so what do I mean when I say this? And most people will just say, I don't know, I'll figure it out. But just play with the idea a little bit. Like, okay, I'm not going to say and put all the pressure on that I have to have all of the pieces of the information. But on a first glance, what is it? What's happening when I say work-life balance? What do I mean? Does that mean not working on a Friday? Does that mean closing your laptop off at certain points of the day? Does that mean you having a solid morning routine after you've dropped the kids off at school and that first hour is for you? What do you mean with that? Number 4, perfection is always going to make you feel stuck. And perfection gets so much praise. Oh, it's the perfect thing. We've just had Christmas. The perfect setting, the perfect Christmas, the perfect family. And actually, when we just see the perfect version, it's a snapshot. It's 2 seconds of a whole life. And I always think about this in terms of a tablescape, which it feels like it's a new word that's come into the conversation. A tablescape. Now, I love a beautifully laid table. I think that they look lovely. And yes, of course, I've taken a photo of a table looking beautiful. But when I reflect on the dinners that I've had, actually, I'm not necessarily remembering how nice the napkins were. I am remembering the conversations that were around that table. And so actually that lack of perfection, of everything being polished, nothing being moved out of place, is where the magic happens. You can have that perfection, you can have that perfect idea, but the vibrancy of the vibe, the mood, is where all the good stuff comes. So if you are just trying to keep everything perfect, everything in position at all times, you're stifling it, you're holding it back, and actually letting it go a little bit and pulling back and just seeing what happens might just be the place you need to be in. Okay, let's start. Number 1, I want you to be honest and in your truth. And whenever you're thinking about planning, it can be so easy to jump on what everybody else is doing and just accept what's maybe being presented to you or what's expected of you. And I want this year to be your year of honesty and truth. Does this feel good to me? Is this something I want to do? Is this the next right step for me? And I want you to keep coming back to that place. And sometimes you have to cultivate it. Sometimes you might need to go, right, I need a meditation practice actually. Or I need to sit down with my journal every morning. So I keep coming back to yourself. It's so easy to go wide and outsource what everybody else is doing, get inspiration from everywhere. But what I want you to do is to keep coming back to you. Number 2, flip the phone and change the dial. So instead of focusing, as I've just mentioned, all that time and effort and energy on what everybody else is doing, I want you almost to take your phone, turn it round and look internally. How does this feel? Does this feel good? Is there something that needs to be changed or tweaked? Is there something I'm ignoring here? Is there a feeling? Is there emotion? Is there a dream that I keep pushing down? And actually, it's time to let it blossom and come to the surface. Instead of looking outwards all the time, I want you to come back to yourself. Number 3, I want you to look at your beliefs about change and how they affect you. Now, there are some people who will actively say, I don't do resolutions. They're not for me. I don't think they work anyway. Everybody gives up, don't they, on January the 6th? And is there any point to them? But often there can be this propensity for people who don't believe in resolutions to just stay the same. And often if we say, oh, it doesn't work anyway, then we just carry on as we are. And actually what it takes is when you're setting resolutions or you're willing to make a change or you're looking to make a change, it's a game. It's a game of throwing and catching. I want to make this change. Okay. And you have to be responsive. It's not something that you can do from that static position of going, I want to make a change. Why hasn't it? I don't know why I'm doing this gangster voice. I want to make a change, but I don't know why it's happened. It's constantly back and forth. I want to make a change. Okay, I'm going to make this change. Oh, that doesn't feel good. What am I going to do next? It's a call and response in that way. And so I want to assess what is happening for you, and are you keeping yourself small and letting yourself get away with some things just because you maybe don't want to do the work? I'm going to say it, and I'm saying it to myself. You know this. Number 4, I want you to begin to color in all the details. I've recently shared a video all about vision boarding, and I would really recommend you watch this because this is very much about coloring in all the details. If you set a goal, for example, of you would like to have a new kitchen this year or decorate your living room or whatever it might be, coloring in all the details is about beginning that process. Gather. Oh, what do I like? Beginning to look at other people's living rooms. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like the way they've done that on location. Going into your local paint shop, picking up samples, beginning to create the picture. Instead of just having, this year will be the year we do our kitchen, begin the process now. Meet it. And number 5, I want you to get into the why. Not the how, because the how may not be obvious immediately. And get ready. And I think that this is a level of commitment and connecting with why you are doing that. Why is this important to you right now? What are you going to gain from this? And all of these stages are going to allow you to get ready. Because once that why is so strong, it's going to pull you forward. It's going to say, come on, let's go. And let's go over here. Let's go over here. Whereas if you're stuck in the how, you're very much in a static place. Well, I don't know if I can make that move. I don't know what's coming next. I'm just not sure. Whereas if you get into the swell of the why, you're going to begin to move forward. If you want help and support, go to my planning section of my website, or you can go straight to my Work With Me page. I would love to help and support you. Come back for part 2. Do subscribe, follow along, and I'll see you then. Lots of love. Bye.